Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have the prayer and the pledge led by Councilman David Broussard.
Say the Lord's Prayer, please. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Dan Dahl is out sick tonight. Councilmember Natalie Lopez. Councilmember Marlon Lewis.
Here.
Councilmember David Broussard.
Here.
Councilmember Deidre Ledbetter.
Here.
Councilmember Sherry Guidry.
Present.
Councilmember Dustin Swear.
Here.
Item 1 is public comment. I don't see any comment cards. No comment cards. This is the time I'll ask you to put your cell phones on vibrate, and we'll move on to item 2.
Acceptance of the minutes. Acceptance of the minutes of the December 17th, 2019 meeting as published on January 7th, 2020.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Lewis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Ledbetter. Is there any discussion on the minutes?
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
For the marked absence of the minutes, I know I rolled in here a little late. I had to bring my daughter to practice. So it has me as absent, but it does has me as recorded as the motions and stuff. So how do we do that, Mayor?
We can amend it,
Okay.
so it can be amended. Do we have to vote on the amendment?
No, I could just revise them.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, then we'll just revise it to show that you were here.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further comments, questions? Please vote your machines. Thank you. Madam Clerk, item 3.
Persons to address the council. First, we have Charlene Markle with Iberia Mental Health Initiative to announce an event entitled Deep Listening.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of the Iberia Mental Health Initiative. Our next program addresses the issues of civility and polarization in our community, our state, our nation, and the world as a whole. People are finding it harder and harder to listen to one another when they disagree. Friendships and families are fracturing because people are not willing to hear one another. As an antidote to that, we are offering the opportunity to learn the techniques of deep listening. The program will be held on Wednesday, January 22nd at 6 p.m. in the main library here in New Iberia. It's free and open to the public. Our speaker will be Diane Kirksey, founder of Compassionate Communication of Lafayette. We invite everyone to come and perhaps bring a friend or a family member. Together we can learn how to be deep listeners and open up our conversations to everyone. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions, comments?
If you can just repeat the date and time again.
January 22nd, 6 p.m. at the main library.
Thank you.
Kwame,
Yes.
just want to thank y'all for what y'all do out there. Mental Health Initiative. I have a little brother that's paranoid schizophrenia, and anytime I hear anything about mental health, I just, want to thank the people involved,
Thank you very much. Item 3B.
We have a review of the 2019 crime statistics by New Iberia Chief of Police.
Here we go. The statistics, and we're now following, because I know that last year, when we presented our one-year stats, we took over in July. which was different from how UCR federal statistics and statewide are reported under requirements. So now we're now able to report year for year now, which is a complete and total review of UCR stats. So in review of 2018 is the first category in your violent crimes: homicides, shootings, sexual assault, rapes, armed robberies. There was a 50% decrease in homicides from 2018 to 2019, from 8 to 4. 61% in shootings, 41 to 6, 41 in 18 and 16 in 2019. Sexual assaults, rapes took a slight increase from 5 to 8, and armed robberies 12 to 11. Out of those statistics, the solve rate is the next category you see. 100% solves on homicide cases in the city. In shootings, 82%, and sexual assaults, 88%, and armed robberies, 91%. For a total solve rate on major crimes or violent crimes at 87%, which is well above the national average, and you know, really credit to the men and women that work in this department that work hard to solve these crimes, and especially victims of violent crimes. So overall, if you look at the totals, there was a 40% decrease in crime in violent crimes throughout the city in all categories. When it comes to property crimes, burglaries of business, burglary vehicle, and burglary residence, in 2018 in business burglaries was 66, 2019 was 34, for a 48% decrease. Vehicle burglaries went from 242 to 91 in 2019, with 62% decrease. And residential burglaries went from 223 to 130, for a 42% decrease. Overall on property crimes, a 52% decrease in property crimes. You know, again, it's a credit, one, to our community, that I think we all know when all this journey started, bringing our department back, it was community-oriented policing, letting the community know we were there for them. We still are. We still got a ways to go. You know, there's still crimes out there that we want to get better at. Our solve rates are good, but like anything else, we strive for perfection. So anything less than that, you know, we want to do even better. So I'm excited about the movement, the direction we're going in. We want to continue that going into 2020. Obviously, our year is just starting now. So in next year, we'll compare it 2019 versus 2020. But these numbers, as you can see, and a credit to the community and a credit to our department. You know, these men and women, the staff and people that work with us, are really day in and day out there trying to do their very best. We do our part as administrations to make sure that we tote the line. We police the police. So with all that said, you know, we're definitely moving in a positive direction, but I'm open for any questions or comments.
Any questions? Yes.
I don't have a question, I just have a comment. When you first arrived here, I had a serious line of questioning about some things, but one of the questions was proposed to you at the podium, and it was by a resident, you know, being that we have somewhat similar from where you come from, Eunice versus New Iberia. We talked about the population, and they wanted to know what you was going to come here and do versus what you was doing in Jennings. I don't know if you remember that question, and I'm paraphrasing it, but now you can clearly see the statistics show what you're doing, so I want to thank you for that.
And for me, it's not about me. Obviously,
That's right.
I
It's
know I
about
lead the
the entire
department, but it's
department.
about the men and women that serve behind me, because they're out there grinding every day to try to really put their heart into making New Iberia a safer place and a better place.
And I did come have that cup of coffee with you, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Yes. No.
I just want to say to the, you know, the general public who probably doesn't have too much knowledge of our current chief, that he is just so receptive to us as a council, and I mean, from what I get as a council member, I can only imagine the you know, the communication between him and the mayor, and it's just so nice to see that and to have that, because that was one of my biggest worries. You know, you know, this stuff can get really political, and the chief being appointed and not elected,
You know, that it's a different type of dynamic. So you don't know if the chief's just going to be there for the mayor or if he's going to be there for the council too. And I want the public to know that he is. He is there. When I call, he answers. If he doesn't, he texts. He tells me where he's at, when he's going to call me back. I've called at night. I've called on Christmas. I mean, I've called to report things. I've called just to whine. I have called for a friend with a flat tire. I mean, I want the public to understand that how much we appreciate you supporting this tax and what it has done and the quality of the service that you really are getting. Thank you.
And if I could comment on that, and he's gonna deflect this, but it's a credit to the mayor, because the mayor's vision is very clear for the city, and he took, and I know that, I'm not campaigning for him by any means, but he went out, and I saw him at town halls hustling to bring this department back, and I watched it, we all watched it, and I think we all went to some of the town halls, and his vision is made clear, and it makes our jobs easy. You know, when the mayor just tells me to go out and do my job, and the staff will tell you the same thing, that all he wants is us to go out and perform and make our community better. So that's when you have the support of an administration and a council that all in for one purpose, to make our community safer and better, makes this job easy. Law enforcement's what we do every day. I said it when I stood here for ratification, that my job is easy to do police work, you know, and when the mayor takes the bull by the horns and does all the things on the front end to make sure that we have what we need to do our jobs, then the job becomes much easier. So it's appreciated from this council and this mayor that it's a credit to you. It really is. The support that you did and the support that you give to our department means a lot, and our personnel feel it.
Last week, y'all, in my neighborhood, shaking up the doorbell cameras, with policemen walking the street in the middle of the night with the flashlights. I think you had one of undercover cars that we didn't recognize. Get everybody up, emailing everybody. We got something going on. It was the police walking the streets in the middle of the night. We appreciate that. You know, we see it. We see a drop in crime in our neighborhoods. You know, it's a freak that we have off and on some things. But we want to thank you, sir, for what you're doing.
Yeah, man, I tell you, these men and women, they are out there, man. They're working hard. I always said that you're only good as people you surround yourself with. And we got some really phenomenal police officers that work hard every day. And, you know, take some of the brunt of our fussing, what we expect, because we always look for perfection, you know, and nobody's perfect. But that's what we strive for. And that's a hard tale to ask, and these officers are really doing it, and it's a credit to them and a credit to the community, because the phone calls we get, and that's one thing. And we go down to the bottom. I forgot one other category. The yearly calls in 2018, our department took 26,624 calls. In 2019, we took 29,093 calls. That uptick is just, I call it trust. You know, that is the community trusting us to call us and provide a service to them, for them. And so I don't take that increase in calls for service as a bad thing. I take it as a good thing. People are calling us and telling us what they would like for us to provide a service. That's a good thing.
Oh, before I forget, I'm gonna say thank you, because y'all doing an awesome job, and thank you for the team you built. The team you built, and I'm looking at those guys in to say I know that the leadership personally, you know, Lassiter, Williams, and Barnett, you know, in here tonight, and so many others that we get a chance to know personally, you know, and these guys, man, Marlo, if you hear something, give us a call, you know, and I'll call, and my community know I'll call. That's my job. Y'all know where I serve, District 2, the West End. There's a lot going on, you know. But I have a pleasure of traveling to Acadiana a little bit. I serve on Smile Community Actions Board. We serve Lafayette, Iberia, St. Martin. My girlfriend lives in Karen Crow. Her parents live in Opelousas. I have an opportunity to visit those cities, and they always ask me about New Iberia. And people are telling me, man, y'all doing better out there. It's looking good. You know, just recently I had a conversation, and I don't remember who it was, but they said, y'all doing good. And I told them, I said, yeah, you can literally see it, and you can literally not hear it. And then before I could finish, he said, yeah, because we don't hear shooting anymore every night. Every night. Things are still happening. We got to remember the world we're living in. But at the end of the day, I've seen a drastic change, man. Thank y'all. Y'all did an awesome job. It's election year. I'm gonna campaign a little bit. We worked hard to get this department. We worked hard.
Any further discussion, comments? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to
Good job.
thank you and your staff for doing what you do. You really have done a great job, and I want you to continue to do that. Thank you so much.
Yes, Dustin.
I guess since everybody else spoke, I guess I'm gonna speak up.
That's how it works.
When it's all came to play out about passing the tax and bringing the tax to the people, yes, a lot of people were skeptical about what was gonna happen, how it was gonna take place, what was gonna take place. But you guys and yourself proved them, and they have trust in the department. So now, as our job as representatives, it made it, I guess, easier in a way to communicate with them about what's going on with the department, how are things shaping out around our districts. So I appreciate that, because y'all coming forward and yourself coming forward and teaching us what was taking place helped out a lot. And we were able to translate that over to our constituents, and it made yes, it was a lot of work on the mayor's part, but it was all worth it, because now we're all together on the same page with the department and seeing the stats the way they are. I couldn't be more pleased, so I appreciate that, Chief. So that's it.
These guys behind me, I tell you what, the staff works their tails off, you know.
Oh yeah,
and
I agree.
Really is.
All right, you know how it works. That's my turn. I just want to say it has been an honor to serve with every one of these people and to watch that department from the beginning, watch it come together, watch that administration. And it's not just the administration. I'm going to start with the administration. Watch that administration just gel and watch them lead by example, every one of them. You know, we had an interview today, and Major Barnett led the interview for the most part, and he was, you know, like we told this young officer, you will not find an administration that is more involved. That every day they go out, they know what you're doing, they know where you are because they're there. You know, these people, I watch them drag themselves out of bed, I watch them make a 12, 15-hour day, and then I see them again at 2 or 3 in the morning because something's happened, you know. That is rare to find, that the entire administration, there are many, many times that they go out, I go meet them, the entire administration is there. Every single leader in our department, you know, so it starts at the top. But you go down through the ranks to every one of our offices. We are very blessed to have the people we have. They bust their butt for our community every day, and they want to. They come to this job and they're just glad to be here. That is, you know, rare. But to watch us work as a team, to watch them work, to watch us as a council fund this, you know, support this, to see these crime stats, you know, 29,093, divide that by 365, that's 79 calls for service a day on an average, okay? Now, those numbers were much higher when we got here. What was the number, Chief?
155.
Yeah. So that number came down because our officers have visibility, because we equipped them with enough equipment, we bought enough, you know, of everything we needed and hired enough people. That's part of the reason. The other part of the reason is the community. We promise community policing. When I get to see from the inside how our crimes get solved, I know how hard our officers work. But if the community doesn't speak up, if they're not part of the team, we wouldn't solve anything. You know, the officers aren't there many times. Many times, every once in a while, but many times they're relying on the witnesses, they're relying on the community to tell us what happened, to fill in those missing pieces so that these crimes can get solved. But we wouldn't have the solve rate that you see, which is really remarkable, if it wasn't for the community. So people have bought into what we're doing. I can't thank the community enough for that. It proves the philosophy of community policing works. On a side note, you know, we said build a safe community, which you all helped do. The businesses will come. That's happening, you know. We are changing the face of our community and the momentum of our community, but I'm not ever going to forget, and I ask every one of you not to either, that much of that is the catalyst that this police department brought. Now, we had to get there. The community passed a tax. That's all part of it. Thank God for them and the fact that they had the foresight to do that. But you can't change the catalyst. And the catalyst is that this department has made us a safe community and has allowed people to be interested in living here and working here and investing here. That was the start. And we got a ways to go. You know, we're not out of the woods as a community as a whole. We've got to continue this momentum. But, you know, we owe a debt of gratitude to this police department, to this leadership for what they've done and what they will continue to do. And they will continue to do it because that leadership will hold people to that task. But can't say enough about it. I think these stats kind of speak for themselves. Our department speaks for itself. So can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart for your support, because without this council being on board, we couldn't have pulled any of this off. You know, there's no way. Each one of you represents a district and a slice of the pie, and if you didn't all get on board, we wouldn't be where we are. So I can't thank you enough for that as well. But anyway, that's it. Anybody else? Think we done? Chief, thank you. Moving on, item 4A.
Resolutions. Resolution authorizing and directing the mayor to execute for and on behalf of the city of New Iberia, Louisiana, a certificate of substantial completion from Ernest P. Bro Electrical, Inc. for the completion of the switch gear and panel change-out project.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Swear and Councilwoman Guidry. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, please vote your machines. Thank you very much. 4B.
Resolution authorizing and directing the mayor to execute for and on behalf of the city of New Iberia, Louisiana, a proposal for services submitted by Paul Allen, architect, for the creation of master plan documents for each city council district.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Guidry. Do I have a second? Councilman Swear. Do we have any discussion on this item? Yes, ma'am.
You and I had spoke about it, and I just wanted you to kind of reiterate about resolution, this particular resolution, and how this is the master plan, particularly for my district, District 5. I know we're putting a bunch of things on the Main Street area, and you and I talk about it all the time, and I'm sure the council members may hear it every now and then, but if you could just elaborate about the master plan for District 5 and other districts, that this is not the only thing that we're doing with District 5.
That's all you get. No. What our plan is, okay, each district has been allotted $10,000. We're going to get each council person for each district. What we did first, because downtown is the flagship for the whole town. Downtown is our cultural center, brings tourism, has good business, is just an iconic downtown, good architecture, but that belongs to all of us. The way I look at that, that's for the whole city. You have the unique, district that most of the downtown area, all of that downtown is in your district, but that's not the only part of your district. Just like every one of you up here has parks and different areas and different business centers and all kind of different diverse districts. So the plan is that this money will not repeat what we've done with the downtown. This money will leave, like in your district, downtown is already handled with the other master plan, with the first one, okay? So, you got Ann Street, you got all kind of areas that,
The Hopkins Street area,
I know. You got one side of Hopkins, Marlowe's got the other, So what this is gonna do is encompass the whole town,
Right.
so that each district, each council person will be involved in their district, involved in projects. And as we've said before, the reason we're winning, okay, is because we own the land in most parts, so we try to concentrate on city-owned property. We come up with the plans, and in many instances, we have the match and the budget and a schematic design before we even go to Baton Rouge and look for the funds. So that has been successful, that we're up to about $7 million in grants in the things that we've done so far. So by doing it in each district, that's just loading a gun for, the team and I to go and find more money. And by having each one of you involved, well, then you're going to get something that's meaningful to you, to your constituents in your district. So it is not going to repeat. That nucleus of downtown is done. We are proceeding with that master plan. We've already got quite a few grants. We're applying for more with the work we've done. But this is to get each district up to speed with the downtown, area. So that kind of explains what we're trying to do. This will allow it to start. It's probably a year-long process. I would say all this year, 2020, we'll be planning to launch, what we can. Look, if I find some money quick, we'll do it sooner. But it's going to take a while for each district to be developed. But that's kind of what we're doing. So any questions or other comments? Yes, ma'am.
Can I go first since I'm definitely leaving?
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Everyone else will be here next year.
Yeah, well, I don't know how we're going to do it. In other words, we might start with a little in each district. Kind of what I'm going to try to do, I was thinking, was identify one project quickly in each district so that we could start on that, because I don't want to miss the opportunity that I see some grant money and we're not ready.
Yeah, no,
So,
I mean, I totally get
probably we'll do-
prioritization. I just remember, like, when I came in,
Mhm.
you know, Therese is in the middle of that big Monterey Street project. She had been on it for years, and then it got finished under me, and everyone was thanking me, and I was like, oh, but that
Yeah.
wasn't me. That was Therese.
You know.
And I didn't want to take her credit, so.
Luck of the
I'm
draw.
just saying.
Sometimes you come in and you got to take problems,
No,
so
I'm
it kind of
sorry.
works both ways, you know.
No, yeah. It still is a problem sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know,
Oh, yeah.
just saying.
That's it. Well, no, but I do plan on trying to say, let's try to identify while we're developing all of this, one project in each district so that we can get the jump on it, you know.
We should go number order.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
go
you,
this
you know,
way.
that's it. Any further discussion?
Reverse.
Sir?
Man, I'm gonna say, I know we're gonna get some questions. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get some questions.
sure.
Why y'all spending $60,000 on a plan?
Okay.
You know, and
Because the $10,000 that we spent so far, it didn't do it all, but of that $10,000, it's already brought in a few million. So what an investment. In other words, I can't take credit for the whole $7 million because some things we did without the plan. But just the plan we've had is producing a couple of $1 million worth of grants. So sometimes, don't mean to like it's cliche, sometimes you got to spend some money to make some money or to generate some interest and excitement and make something happen. If we spend no money, we have no plan. If we have no plan, we have no chance. So that's a quick, simple solution that without planning, if you look at every other master study the city's ever done, because I can go find them for you, they're all in the vault, okay? They cost way more money than what we're spending, and they don't have a track record of producing projects. This is a common sense, direct approach that is working for us. I mean, look, we'll talk about it later, we're gonna do the Veterans Memorial, we couldn't get it off the ground, so now we're building ourselves. You know, we have another one planned that I'm gonna be bringing, there's another thing that public, didn't tell Mr. Leroy yet, but another thing that Public Works can construct, okay? So we kinda have a very hands-on approach to this, but I think we need to spend that money to have that plan. And you know, what would you do with it, okay? You look at the total of I'll just bring it up. You look at the total of the $400,000 that we've gotten from the LWCC that we're voting for the final time tonight. That money's getting spread all over the place. I call my road engineer because that's what I get. I'll get someone saying we had 400,000 and you're not fixing our roads, okay? Good, valid question, okay? Well, our streets are, a block is 700 feet long by 22 feet wide. You take the square footage of that, you multiply it out, you call the engineer, and a road costs $7 a square foot to do the patching and the overlay. So you know what that costs? It costs $110,000 when you put the engineering fees on a block. So I could do 3.5 blocks. That's what I could do with $400,000 in this whole city, with miles and miles and miles of roads and many, many need. I'm not knocking the need, but I could do 3.5 blocks. Well, a contractor's not going to come in and spread that out, so I can't even do half a block in each district, okay? I'd have to do 3.5 blocks. You tell me who's going to line up and get shot after they decide that in one district somebody's getting 3.5 blocks, which is still not enough to fix anything, and all the rest of you aren't getting anything. You know, they're going to hang us. That's not the answer. You know, I need millions to do the roads. We're getting our money straight. We are all diligently working on our finances so that we can borrow money, float a bond, and spend millions on the roads when we can. But in the meantime, do we not take this money, be it the $10,000 per district or the whole pie of the 400, spread it out and find things where other things are happening in our community, where we're increasing our quality of life, where we're keeping that momentum going, where we're enticing to investors who supply jobs, a dollar turns over 7 times in the community, and unfortunately this is how we run, who pay taxes of the money that we're spending wisely to get more. That's a simple answer. Took me a little while, but
no, because you know, like you're a builder, you understand that you have to plan before you build. I've done a little remodeling for myself, and I know you got a plan. And some things I did without planning, and I wish I would have planned. Put something on paper, you know.
Yeah.
So I get it.
fail to plan on failing.
Right,
you know?
and I get it, but I know like the general public, they don't understand
Right.
$10,000 on a plan. Just like they don't understand the price to fix a road.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and when they see $400,000 coming through the pipeline or $60,000 being spent, man, you couldn't fix our road. So that's why I brought it up.
Oh, I
So-
appreciate it. The
so-
more that we can educate the public
Yeah.
that we represent on just how expensive some of these things are and the process and what we have to go through, you know, the more they won't hang us. Anything further? Great. Any other questions, comments? Cool. Well, then I would please ask you to vote your machines. Thank you all very much. Madam Clerk, 4C.
Resolution approving amendments to A, that agreement between the City of New Iberia and Squirrel Run Investment Group, Inc., et al., dated various dates, filed for record May 6, 1994, at Conveyance Book 1072 at Folio 918, under entry number 94-3258 of the Iberia Parish Records, and or B, that cooperative endeavor and whole harmless agreement between the City of New Iberia and Perry J. Segura et al., dated various dates, filed for record at Conveyance Book 1461 at page 676 under file number 2010-8539 of the Iberia Parish Public Records, including an assumption of certain landowner obligations by the Squirrel Run Levee and Drainage District, and provisions releasing certain parties and properties from the effects of the agreement.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Lopez and a second by Councilwoman Guidry, and our clerk did a good job. I'm going to turn this over to Jeff Simon so that he can give us a little brief synopsis on this.
We've been talking about this for a number of meetings, and I hope this is the last one. But this is part of the plan where we're addressing the use of some of the Squirrel Run Golf Course and some maintenance on the levee and drainage system in the Squirrel Run area. And I have before you an agreement that we've been working out. We've had a lot of meetings with the different parties, with the drainage district, with the levee and drainage district, with the party that's purchasing the golf course area, Hugh Andre's company, with the sellers' representatives. And so we put this agreement together, and I've got a draft agreement that I've given you here, and I've got a little bit more detailed resolution on the cover. And what I'd like somebody to do if they would, when I finish explaining this, is to make a motion to amend this resolution to kind of bring the rest of these terms in, okay, to make it more specific. But basically what's going to happen is the landowners out there, Perry Segura and related companies, are going to transfer to Hugh Andre's company, which is Cane Row Golf and Turf Club. They're going to transfer some golf course areas in ownership, and they're also going to have a lease to Cane Row of some other areas where they're going to do the activities this council has approved for them to do. So that transfer is going to take place. The areas that those landowners own that are part of the levee and drainage system, those are going to be transferred to the levee district. We had an agreement that we did in 1994 that tied up a lot of that property for levee maintenance obligations. The land that's going to be transferred to Hugh Andre's companies is going to be released from that. The original parties to that agreement are going to be released from that. And the levee district is going to assume the responsibilities of those landowners. So basically, the levee district is taking over the levee, and Hugh Andre's company is going to be free to operate the golf course without any kind of restriction from those old agreements. And I've got the detail here. There are a lot of different moving parts of this, but I think that's a fair statement of what we worked out with all these parties. So what I have is a draft agreement, and I have a resolution where you authorize the mayor to do this on terms and conditions he thinks are appropriate, including but not limited to the draft agreement, with some descriptions to be supplied. So he's going to have some discretion to fine tune this, but this is basically the agreement. And I think it's going to benefit the area because it's going to allow that golf course to operate the way that the neighborhood wants it to operate. And it's going to benefit the neighborhood that way. And I think it's going to give some funds, some from the city that were in the budget, some from the landowners to the levee district so they can get started on their operations. And I think we have a better chance of levee maintenance out there with this agreement between all these parties. But we did a little placeholder resolution that we got in the agenda. This is a little bit more detailed, and I wanted y'all to have the detail today. So if you don't mind, if we could get a resolution to, a motion to amend this, and then we can vote on that, and then y'all can vote on it. But I'll answer any questions that you have.
Question?
Make that motion.
Okay.
To amend?
I have a motion to amend by Councilman Lewis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Guidry. Is there any discussion on this amendment? Hearing, seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank you. Now we have the right amendment in place. One more time, is there any questions on anything we're doing? Okay. Good, then I'd ask for a motion. Motion by Councilman Swear, and I need a second.
Second.
I think you were second. Councilwoman Guidry. Any discussion, comment? None? Please vote your machines. Thank you very much. And I want to thank Jeff for a lot of hard work. This has been quite a few meetings in my office with a bunch of attorneys.
And a little arm twisting?
And a little arm twisting here and there, and a lot of activity, but everybody, I mean, you know, I see Dean's here. Everybody really worked hard on this. You know, Dean represented the levy board's interest. You know, Hugh had an attorney. I had Jeff. Mr. Perry had an attorney. So it was kind of lively at times, but we got there. So there's a couple of more steps, but I think this paves the way for them. So I want to thank everybody involved because it was kind of fun to watch the process, but, you know, kind of fun. Thank y'all. Madam Clerk, 5A.
Public hearings. Public hearing on introduction of budget amendment number 2019-2020-03, amending the ordinance levying certain taxes, appropriating the funds necessary to defray the expenses and liabilities of the city of New Iberia for the year 2019-2020, to amend the budget to appropriate the LWCC one-time dividend, and to set for public hearing on January 7th, 2020.
I need a motion to open our public hearing.
Motion. Second.
Okay, motion by Councilman Lewis, a second by Councilwoman Guidry. Thank y'all. Do we have any public comment on this hearing? Seeing none, I need a motion to close our public hearing. Motion. Whoa! Councilman Lewis, Councilwoman Lopez. Thank y'all. Madam Clerk, 5B.
Public hearing on introduction of ordinance to accept donation from Landry Watkins Repasque and Bro Louisiana Partnership to the city of New Iberia of the property described therein for the purpose of improvement of the property as part of George Wright Reed Park and for related uses, for construction of boardwalk and walking path and related uses, and for construction of boat slips, subject to terms, conditions, and reservations set forth in the donation document, and to set for public hearing on January 7, 2020.
I need a motion to open our public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Thank you, Councilwoman Guidry. Thank you, Councilman Broussard. Do we have any comments on this public hearing? Hearing, seeing none, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Councilwoman Guidry, Mr. Broussard, that's a second? That's a
think it
second. Good, thank you. Moving on to item 5C.
Public hearing on introduction of ordinance to accept donation from Landry Watkins Repasque and Bro Louisiana Partnership and enter into agreement for a servitude for not less than 30 years across the property described therein for construction of boardwalk and walking path and related uses, and for construction of boat slips, subject to terms and conditions set forth in the agreement, including the agreement by the city of New Iberia to provide hard surface parking improvements for at least 14 parking spaces on adjacent property of Landry Watkins Repasque and Bro, and to set for public hearing on January 7, 2020.
I need a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Lopez and I think Councilman Broussard, y'all. Is there anyone who has any public comment on this motion? None? Well, guess what I need now? I need a motion to close. Councilman Lopez, Councilman Broussard, thank y'all very much. Now we move on to item 6A.
Adoption of ordinances. Adoption of budget amendment number 2019 2020-03, amending the ordinance levying certain taxes, appropriating the funds necessary to defray the expenses and liabilities of the city of New Iberia for the year 2019-2020, to amend the budget to appropriate the LWCC one-time dividend.
I need a motion. Motion by Councilman Swear and a second by Councilwoman Ledbetter. Any discussion on this? Hearing? Yes, sir.
Can you just for once, clarify what the amount is for the public, general public to?
477,000 and some change. That's from memory. I'm sure it's in here. We looked at it last time, but it is.
I don't know if I have it
You
in
know,
here. I had it last time.
We had it last time. It's about $477,000.
Oh, wait, this could be in the, it'll be,
Any further questions? Hearing none, please vote your machines. Thank you all very much.
oh, there you go.
Item 6B.
Adoption of ordinance to accept donation from Landry Watkins Repasque and Bro, a Louisiana partnership to the city of New Iberia of the property described therein for the purpose of improvement of the property as part of George Wright Reed Park and for related uses, for construction of boardwalk and walking path and related uses, and for construction of boat slips, subject to terms, conditions, and reservations set forth in the donation document.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Broussard, a second by Councilman Swear. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, please vote your machines. Thank y'all. 6C.
Adoption of ordinance to accept donation from Landry Watkins Repasque and Bro, a Louisiana partnership, and enter into agreement for a servitude for not less than 30 years across the property described therein for construction of boardwalk and walking path and related uses, and for construction of boat slips, subject to terms and conditions set forth in their agreement, including the agreement by the city of New Iberia to provide hard surface parking improvements for at least 14 parking spaces on adjacent property of Landry Watkins Repasque and Bro.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion. Councilman Lewis, Councilman Broussard. Do we have any discussion? No discussion? Please vote your machines. Thank y'all. Now we move on to item 7.
Property standards, revisit demolition of property located at 133 Reynolds Street, New Iberia, Louisiana, in District 3.
Jimmy, tell us the story.
Well, the house burned in 2016, April 2016. And nothing's been done to it. I'll go through the pictures.
Yasmin. Yeah, Yasmin.
That one's upside down. So that's the roof right here. The ceiling. All right, that's the last one.
All right. Proper notice has been given, chances have been given, everything,
Yeah.
our process has been followed.
Yeah.
Well, I sound like Jeff Simon, but anyway.
You learned
Okay, I'm done. Great. This is in District 3. Mr. Broussard, I'm calling on you.
Long overdue. Over 15 years ago, Mr. Mayor, you and I were sitting here with Dan Dahl.
Mhm.
We all started the blighted properties. I think it was during our administration that long ago, getting rid of blighted properties. Other cities have followed us, way long behind that we started. We have a clean city because of these 15, 20 years back that we did this. As a city councilman, I am enforcing ordinances that the city has in place. We give the owner of the blighted houses much time, too long, to get things fixed or do it. So it's not on just a whim that we go tear this house down. We want rooftops. Fix the house. Tear it down yourself. But when it comes down to us, the city of New Iberia will demolish the blighted house and charge that property the amount it took to demolish blighted houses, and we'll get our money back whenever they sell that property. So yes, we are tearing this thing down. We're gonna give relief to the neighbors of that area that have been really patient for, what, 4 years now? Looking like that?
3.5.
And we do need to follow up on putting these burn houses. We have a thing in place, Mr. Muller, we brought that up last meeting.
Yeah.
But we will put these burn houses, whatever district it's in, higher up the list. We don't have to change the law, but we'll put it higher up the list to get it going. But in a big way, I hope we will. I just jumped the stop. But yeah, we will, please y'all support me tearing this house
So your
down.
motion is to demolish.
Yes, sir.
Great, we have a motion on the floor, do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Councilman Swear, do we have any other discussion? Yes, ma'am.
I just want to thank Mr. Broussard for doing the due diligence and revisiting this property. But at the same time, I don't know, Mr. Broussard, I wasn't here 15 years ago, but the bandwagon I've been on has been cleaning up this city. So with this administration under this new council, I'd like to hold the flag for demolition if need be for cleaning the city. But I'll bow down to y'all, you and Mr. Freddie and Mr. Dan Dahl that was here before me, but that was before my time. So just want to throw that in there,
There you
Mr.
go.
Broussard. And I'm with you.
Thank you. Appreciate your help.
Any further discussion? None? I just wish I could vote Dan's machine. I don't get to vote. But anyway, no further discussion. I'll ask you please vote your machine. Thank you very much. Now we move on to a discussion item. Item 8.
Dustin Swear will discuss the increase of
Increase.
rates by LACO.
All right, thank you. Well, the item can be pretty much changed to talking about the increase that took place, because we just made aware this evening. Thanks to Ms. Maxine for doing all the work and researching for me as well. It turns out I did get a couple of phone calls about a possible increase or an increase from Rocco or something like in that nature. So I wanted to just make it just bring it out to the public that this council did not vote to make an increase to raise your water bill. That's not what we do. The LACO went to the Public Service Commission, and in doing so, they were granted their request to increase the rate. So I believe it's about 10% increase. That was back in January of 19. When that was done now, May of 19, it has taken effect. So like I said, there's no possible increase. It has increased. And I'd just like the public to know once again that it's not the council that's doing that. Now, do I agree or disagree with the increase? That's a totally different story. I understand keeping up with the times. When goods and services go up, I mean, you have to kind of go with the flow. But I just wanted to make the council aware of that, and just, after the phone calls, just wanted to get that straight with the public, that we did not increase these fees, and it's something that LACO has done. So, just if anybody else has anything to say on it, if not, that's about it.
Great, thank you. Any other remarks? No other remarks? I'd gotten a few calls, and, like I said, LACO is well within their right to do it. The Public Service Commissioner, that's what they're there for, is to regulate this. So we have a franchise agreement, and that's where we stand. Great, well, thank you for bringing that up. Now I'm going to move on, since you kind of have the floor already, and go to Councilman's remarks. I'm going to start with you. Keep going.
It was Councilwoman's swear, but
That was the jacket, though.
Big cats and stuff
I
on.
like to bring up the past every now and then. No, not really. God, I lost my train of thought.
Take your time, man. Take your time.
Okay, over the weekend, just like to say this, we lost a very, I would say, influential person in New Iberia. He goes by the name of Mr. Boris Begno, affectionately known by many as Mr. Beg. Excuse me about kind of getting a little emotional, but he was a man to me that led by, he was a man of faith, he was a man of family, community. He actually wasn't originally from New Iberia, and I'm actually happy that he decided years and years ago to bring his family here, because we wouldn't have gotten to know him as a person. Throughout his career, he actually had a relationship with everyone on a individual level. I mean, he went around maintaining people's homes and developed relationships one-on-one with the families or whoever he was able to touch. And to me, honestly, like my wife told me the other night, he was actually the first person to hold our infant that was not immediate family when he came over 2 days after he was born. So I kind of hold that special bond with him. He was very proud of the Iberia Recreation Department. He was a Hall of Fame member. He found a way to always make a point to go out to that ballpark to watch who was ever playing. Didn't matter if it was a family member, a friend, or whatnot. Even in his later years, he still came out and did the cleanup when we started the cleanup process. So I enjoyed seeing him do that. He's a proud veteran. He was very proud of that. Another thing, when I say he was real well with the community, he actually passed that down to his children. His son Calvin actually sat in this very seat for 8 years and instilled in him the nature that he had as a person. I know Calvin's going to find this funny, but I actually look up to him even though he's a lot shorter than me. But but other than that, like I've told Mr. Calvin, I've told many people that Mr. Begnaud is going to leave behind some big shoes, and it is my belief that those shoes, they just aren't made anymore. So I want to, once again, my condolences go out to the family. I'm going to miss him very much. He's very dear to my heart. And other than that, I want to tell everyone Happy New Year's, and we're looking forward to a good year coming our way, hopefully. But other than that, everyone have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said.
I just have two announcements. Mr. Broussard, also too, if we all have a Ellie Mae thing in our packet. If you take a look at page 9, there's a nuisance abatement guide, and it behooves us all to kind of take a look at that. It's a guide to addressing common public nuisance, a flight to blight, and you can download it for free. So it's kind of worth looking at. The other thing is we're celebrating the man and the legacy. I think I saw Pastor Zach in the audience. And the new chapter push in collaboration with Lighthouse Baptist Church, New Iberia, and the New Iberia Christian Ministerial Federation is hosting its annual MLK Day, Saturday, January the 18th, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., starting with a march at 1 p.m. from West End Park to MLK. West End Park to LHMBC, Lighthouse Missionary Baptist Church. Did I get that right? Okay. So the actual program is going to take place at Lighthouse Missionary Baptist Church. Okay. Well, good thing I asked. I was going to be in the wrong spot. Okay, so that is 321 Center Street, New Iberia. Our keynote speaker will be the Honorable Judge Laurie Landry. They're asking you all to come out and join us in celebrating the man and his legacy. They're talking about Dr. Martin Luther King. This is also an honoree and recipient for the ANCP Outstanding Community Advocate Award. And any church, choir, or praise dancers are interested in participating, they're to contact Reverend James Broussard, Reverend Wilford Johnson, or Reverend Zach Mitchell. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilwoman Ledbetter.
I'd like to announce that the Iberia Parish chapter of the NAACP, along with Delta Sigma Theta of New Iberia, will be collaborating on a Martin Luther King Day celebration to be held on Monday, January the 20th at 1:00 p.m. at the West End Park. And the guest speaker will be Reverend Mark Lewis, pastor of Mount Calvary Baptist Church here in New Iberia. All are invited to attend. Also on Thursday, January the 16th, it'll be our first neighborhood watch for District 4 for 2020. It'll be at 6:00 p.m. at the Slyman Theater. All are invited to attend. And I want to also wish everybody a happy new year. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. B.
I want to express my condolences to that. He was in my district, Mr. Bagnell. Man, a few words. Best thing he gave me advice for was zip it. I mean, I go to the door, zip it at the meetings. He gave me that, always nice, but you take his point
Oh, yeah.
and look, I took it to the bank. I got somebody helping me zip it. Get to the point of what you're doing here at the meetings and get it done. But that's my point that Mr. Bagnell really got across to me. He was a man of few words, but say what you have to say and get going. Mr. Mayor, this year will be a good year for vision. Let us all make 2020 the year to promote New Iberia and Iberia Parish. Let's start at this meeting and keep it going almost every meeting. See how we can promote the businesses that come here. And it's so nice to see our veterans again. I'll recognize you anywhere I go, anytime I shake your hand, whoever's a veteran. Thank you for serving. I mean it from the heart. And Mr. Dabo, thank you, officers showing up, giving us a good report. We appreciate it. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Well, I want to wish everybody a happy new year. Looking forward to a new and exciting 2020. I definitely want to give Mr. Calvin, and I may need to call him, give his family condolences and my prayers and sympathy. But also my friend and my mentor, one of my mentors, Mr. Terry Landry, State Representative Terry Landry. He lost his wife. And I'm saying that so that the council and the general public would pray for him in this time. He's been a fighter. He fought for what we needed in District 96B and still fighting. But now we need to fight and pray for him, or pray for him. So with that being said, that's going to be it.
Thank you.
For him and his family.
Yes. Natalie.
Okay, the last two meetings I was out. I just want to let the public in my district know I had sick children. I had one in the hospital with RSV, followed by one with bronchitis, followed by one with the flu. Then I got a little sick, got my voice back about 2 days ago. I know not everyone's happy about it. No.
You gotta meet a fella named Zippy.
But so that's what I wanted to say. Also, Marlo referenced earlier that it is a political year. Just want to inform the public this year is the year for city council elections. My seat is the only seat up here that is turned out besides Mayor Pro Tem. So you will hear and see of people running for the District 1 seat. I'm not running. I cannot run. I'm turned out. Everyone else can run except for the Mayor Pro Tem. So I just want to put that out there for clarification, so people aren't running around asking questions, because it gets kind of confusing, when you have different seats moving at different times. But so this will be my last year serving District 1, the 8th year. And when I thought about it a while ago, that's like from grade 6 to grade 12. And in that time, I can tell everybody in America, I never once thought of being on the city council of New Iberia. But here I am, and it really has flown by. And I'm excited. This is the first meeting of my 8th year, and I think we're going to get a lot done. So, thank you.
Great, thank you for your remarks. I too want to send my condolences to the Begno family. Calvin and I served together for the time that he was here, and I enjoyed that. And his father certainly put the same drive and the same community service into Calvin. So I have to tell them, my condolences. This year's gonna be a good year. I really think that we're heading in a good direction. I want to thank you again for that LWCC money that we all kind of shared that vision. It gets our Veterans Memorial going, which that should start construction in February. Mr. Leroy and I met today after I met with the veterans this morning, and we're moving on that. So we're looking to break ground by February. It also opens the door to a bunch of projects, and we had kind of gone over them before, but that's a lot of things that we all can hang our hat on as making some good decisions that do some good things in our community. You know, with the one house that we demoed tonight, remember, we have committed $100,000 to go toward demos, so there will be many more this year, because we've got to continue to put the pressure on cleaning up our community. So I thank you all for that. That's really it. We kind of talked a lot tonight, so I'm looking for a motion. Next meeting's the 21st. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Great, thank y'all.